Welcome to the Edge of Casual. This is Verso, and today I'm looking at Kenshi at the request of absolutely nobody ever. But I love the game, and I think the Cannibal Hunters game start is a good way to sort of get acclimated to the game world and how insane it can be. So just diving right in, first thing you want to do is take a look at the gear that your characters are starting with. And Cannibal Hunters, it's a real mixed bag. You might get some heavy armor, you might get some light armor, medium armor. If you're lucky, you get some wooden sandals. But you'll see at the very start here, I'm just going through making sure my characters are not encumbered. And I'm peeling off any armor that is going to weigh me down, and especially any shoes that are going to be a malus on my athletic stat, because that will affect your ability to run faster than the cannibals. Actually, the cannibals are going to be faster than your characters no matter what. They're pretty lithe, and your characters are pretty weak, all told. One is slightly more skilled than the other, but even then barely. So what you want to do is kind of figure out where you want to go straight out of the gate. It's best if you can get in a direction immediately that's taking you opposite from the cannibals that are chasing you. So I kind of wanted to do this video, as I said, not because anybody requested it, but just because over the years I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, this game is too difficult. And it really is. It's a very difficult game. It doesn't pull any punches. But one thing that you can learn right out of the gate is that if you're being chased, it's not necessarily a death sentence. Now, granted, most of the characters in the game, especially if they're as fast or faster than you, they will never stop chasing you, ever. Basically, there's an instruction in the AI that tells them to chase you indefinitely and never stop. But you can sort of deal with that a little bit. So you can see that one of my characters here is very slow and a lot slower than the cannibals. So what I have to constantly do is just well, first of all, I have to take a look at the terrain and make sure I'm not going to be running into any obstacles. I want to try to pick the clearest path in front of me and just steer directly toward that. But also too, every time you see the cannibals kind of coming up on you, and this applies to any NPC that's following you, you want to kind of turn around and go into an attack stance, which will cause them, especially with their big weapons, it's a long animation for them to draw them back and then swing them at you. So it gives you an opportunity to just kind of put them into their attack stance, which you can then cancel your own attack stance and go running off again. And in the meantime, they're stuck in the middle of their animation. So that's kind of the way you have to do it, and this will work all throughout the game, really. It's very useful in the game for getting past all sorts of bandits that are trying to chase you down in your early days before you have much athletics ability. Cannibal Hunters in particular, what I would recommend, usually you'll start somewhere near the coast because that's where the cannibals live. And if you head toward the coast, you might encounter groups of actual cannibal hunters that can actually help you out, or you can maybe stumble upon the Dead Cat village that is somewhere near where I keep planting that flag. But eventually you will encounter people who are friendly to you and kind of jump into the fight a little bit. Most of them are pretty hostile to cannibals. And this was a particularly interesting game start for me because I lucked. I should say, first of all, I lucked out quite a lot by running into those beak things right off the bat, and also the fact that beak things did not come after my characters, which would have just been a game over immediately because you can't outrun those. But also too, a little bit later on, what you're going to see is that I also run into a group of screaming bandits, which additionally peeled off a group of cannibals that had been chasing me. But unfortunately, the screaming bandits came after me as well. Oh, there they are right now. But as I said, you never quite know what you're going to get. Each time you play the game, it's a different experience, and that's one of the things that I sort of love about Kenshi. I think one of the things that makes it a great game is just the unpredictability of it, and the fact that you really have to sort of use your brains in order to survive, especially in these early days, but actually almost all throughout the game. I don't think I've ever actually played through enough of the game to get to a point where everything was just a cakewalk. So yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much it. So my recommendation is you head for the coast, try to find the Dead Cat village, or even like the Cannibal Hunter village if you can. eventually, if you keep running long enough, your athletic skill is going to get high pretty quickly, and maybe you'll be able to keep pace with the cannibals or even outrun them. The screaming bandits were not as fast as the cannibals, so I didn't have to pay as much attention, but actually did mess that up a little bit because I got a little overly complacent with it. But yeah, just kind of keep running until you find somebody who can help you. Everything that you encounter in this part of the world is going to be way too strong for you. Actually, when you first start out with low skill characters, everything is going to be too strong for you everywhere. So you really have to just kind of play every situation to your advantage. Try to run them into guards or what have you. And that's kind of it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. If you have any questions about Kenshi, or if you want to see more Kenshi content, feel free to let me know. But in the meantime, thanks for coming out to the Edge of Casual with me. Take care.